Looking for food that feeds your soul? Hoodfellas Bistro and Catering is your local African-American-owned restaurant offering American cuisine. Located across from the courthouse, we offer daily jury specials to reward civic duty. Enjoy our full-service restaurant and fully stocked bar. Dine in, pick up, delivery, and catering. Our themed happy hours feature live music, handcrafted drinks, and weekly specials. Book your private event at hoodfellowsbistrocatering.com.
You're watching OnFire-TV.com, featuring news, interviews, and entertainment. Broadcasting from Radio On Fire Studios in Baltimore, Maryland, here's your host, Diamond K.
Welcome back. You man Diamond K in here, of course. The Diamond K Show, OnFire-TV.com. OnFire-TV.com. Thank you for joining me. A lot of things to get into, a lot of things to unpack here. Today's show, of course, is called Common Mistakes, Uncommon Reactions. And there appears to be a whole lot of that going around. Whole lot of that. Common mistakes, but uncommon reactions. And we touched on a little bit of this yesterday. And it appears that, there's a rash, I guess, in a span of 6 days, 4 young people across the U.S. have been shot. One was fatal. Now, the reason is because they've made in most instances, ordinary, unavoidable mistakes in everyday life, showing up at the wrong place, essentially. One man shot and wounded 2 cheerleaders outside of a Texas supermarket earlier Tuesday after one of them said she mistakenly got into a car thinking that it was her own. A group looking for a friend's house in upstate New York arrived in the wrong driveway, only for one of them to be shot to death. That happened Saturday night, according to authorities. Of course, in Missouri last Thursday, Kansas City teen shot twice after going to the wrong home to pick up his younger brothers. Now, of course, this raises questions about the state's stand your ground law. It has heightened racial tensions. So we're gonna talk about these stories, these cases, and also a youth wrestler sucker punched an opponent after losing a match. We're going to talk about that. The family of Tyre Nichols, family of him, they are suing Memphis, the Memphis Police Department, over his death. Board of Estimates here in Baltimore have approved extension for the Harborplace. They're trying to renovate that landmark. Should Michael B. Jordan support Jonathan Majors despite this scandal that he's going through right now? We're going to talk about that, unpack that a little bit. RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has launched a very unlikely presidential bid, a Democratic bid. He's going to try to take out Joe Biden, RF Kennedy. I don't know about that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about this teacher and student fight, this recent fight, and who's at fault in those kind of scenarios. Who's at fault, teacher or the student, when they get into some type of physical altercation? We're going to take a quick break and then come back and dive in to some of these topics. You're listening to the Diamond K Show on Fire-TV.com. Welcome back. You may Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show on Fire-TV.com. And as I said, we have so many things to dive into and so many things to unpack here. We talked about this, and it just was a sad story over the weekend. Murder charges for 2 teens in this Alabama Sweet 16 shooting. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than a story like this. So, those of you that have enjoyed your 16th birthday, it's really an exciting thing, generally speaking, 16th birthday. It is a bridge point usually. You are leaving those child years and you're inching towards adulthood. Now, the district attorney down in Alabama said that a pair, 17-year-old, it seems like they are related, Tyre McCullough, 17, and Travis McCullough, 16, both of Tuskegee, are going to be tried as adults. That is what is automatically required in Alabama for anyone who is 16 or older and charged with murder. Now, remember how I said that 16, that age 16 was such a pivotal thing, because as you see in Alabama and many states, when you are 16 years old, they are looking at you as an adult in many instances, many cases. And that is something that's going to happen here. Murder charges for these 2 teens in this Alabama Sweet 16 shooting. So Sergeant Jeremy Burkett of the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency wouldn't say where the 2 are being jailed or whether they were already in custody when they were charged late yesterday. And he said that we can't get into a motive right now because that would be part of an ongoing investigation. We can't share that, he said. Authorities did not specify if they were related. I'm making an assumption here that Tyre McCullough and Travis McCullough are related. I mean, but I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Authorities not specifying that. The sergeant said that prosecutors would ask a judge to hold them without bail. A bond hearing must be held by Friday under Alabama law. Online records do not show any previous adult charges in state court for either of the teens arrested. Saturday's violence was shocking. This is a sleepy town of about 3,200. It's about 45 minutes north of Tuskegee. Now, the birthday girl's brother, an 18-year-old, he died in his sister's arms. Just heartbreaking here. He and another victim, 17-year-old, were high school seniors. Families were left planning funerals instead of graduations. They were left planning the funeral. They were supposed to be planning the graduation, prom, and all that kind of stuff. Instead, they are burying these children. Also killed a 19-year-old and a 23-year-old. Around 32 people were wounded. 32 people were wounded. 4 still in critical condition. He said that more charges would be coming. Oh, they are going to come down real hard on these teenagers, as they should. This is a terrible thing, but sadly, this is what's been happening. Sadly, the level of violence has increased going into the summer. We used to say this in Baltimore, going into the summer, that they were letting a lot of people out of jail going into the summer, and that crime was going to tick up as the summer progressed. Once the warm weather came, that was just something that we used to say around the way. but just violence at an all-time high. It doesn't have to be Baltimore. It could be any major city across this country. Was a sweet 16 birthday party. There's uncut cake and unburned 16 candles that never got lit. The birthday girl, her brother was one of the victims. On her 16th birthday party, she knelt by her brother as he took his last breath. I mean, it doesn't get too much sadder than that. But family members are thankful for the arrest. Obviously, it's not going to make their pain any easier. I'm sure that they're relieved that the suspects are not out in the community. It is just a really, really shocking thing. There were so many kids at this venue. What did these kids see? There's so many victims here. These kids definitely going to be traumatized. Now, there was a police news conference Sunday, and we covered that live here at On Fire TV. It's just a sad situation. In 2020, Alabama had the 5th highest rate of gun deaths in America. So, Alabama law enforcement said that the shell casing from the handguns had been found, noting that there was no evidence of a high-powered rifle being used. But, of course, they appealed for more information from attendees and from the public. So we're going to continue to follow this story out of Alabama. And, of course, thoughts and prayers, sending strength and love to the family and all of those affected by this. Let's do this, take a quick break, and then we'll come back with more of the program after this. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com, on fire-tv.com. So we're talking about shooting and common mistakes and uncommon reactions. So in Texas, you have two cheerleaders that were shot. I mean, how crazy is that? Two cheerleaders. There's not too many things that are, less threatening than a cheerleader. So a man has been arrested for this, thankfully. I mean, I don't know what it is, what has gotten into folks that the first thing that you want to do is pull a gun. Here's a cheerleader. Here's a threatening cheerleader. Man has been arrested shooting cheerleaders. One mistakenly got into the wrong car. One of the victims was critically injured in the shooting that unfolded early yesterday outside of a supermarket in Elgin, Texas. Man arrested. Officers in Elgin, which is about 25 miles northeast of Austin, responded to reports of shots fired outside the H-E-B supermarket, and it was 12:15 local time, 1:15 Eastern. Information suggests that an altercation occurred in the parking lot of the H-E-B. Multiple shots were fired into a vehicle, police said. Two of the car occupants were struck by gunfire, with one victim sustaining serious injuries and transported by helicopter to a hospital. They were listed in critical condition, according to the police. So this culture, this culture of Shoot first. Shoot quickly. Don't ask any questions. The suspect, Pedro Tello Rodriguez Jr., 25 years old, has been charged with deadly conduct, a third-degree felony, according to police. Cheerleaders typically carpooled from the Austin area. On Monday night, she said that at least 4 cheerleaders were on their way back to the Austin area and had to stop at an HEB where some members had parked their cars. One of the girls accidentally tried to get into the wrong car. That's when she said a guy got out and they saw that he had a gun. So they tried to speed off and he shot his gun like 5 times or so into the car. So, girls, as I said, they carpool. This, where they had to go is about 25 miles away from where the girls live. Park the cars at the supermarket, carpool. They're dropping the girl off. She tries to get into the wrong car. And that is when this tragedy happens. Thankfully, she is alive. It's just crazy. Victim critically injured. They said that she's known as a role model. The one who was critically injured. She's won every title there is to win in all-star cheerleading. She's literally a role model for the kids in this industry throughout the country. Everyone knows her. She's literally one of the very best that's ever done this sport. So there is a GoFundMe page that said that she was in stable condition in the ICU, but there will be a very long road to recovery. Said that the cheerleaders had grown up in her gym. This lady that gave this interview, Shearer is her last name. We've known them for years, some literally since they were 8 or 10 years old. They're like family. Very unfortunate. Now, this shooting comes following 2 similar incidents on the heels of eerily similar high-profile incidents in which victims were allegedly shot after mistakenly approaching the wrong addresses. Last week, we talked about 16-year-old Ralph Yarl, who was shot and seriously injured after mistakenly ringing the wrong doorbell in Kansas City, just trying to pick up his siblings in an accident that sparked national outrage. Days later, Kaylin Gillis, 20 years old, was fatally shot by a homeowner after the car she was riding in, she's the passenger, mistakenly turned into the wrong driveway in upstate New York. These 2 incidents sparked national conversation around gun violence and the stand your ground laws, according to which a would-be shooter defending life or property does not have to retreat before taking violent action. The shooting of the cheerleaders is likely to further fuel the discussion. If you're in your car and a girl, a teenager, cheerleader gets into your vehicle mistakenly and you shoot her, is that standing your ground? I mean, I guess everything's standing your ground then. It is. There's so much to unpack. This is going to be an interesting case to follow. But as the owner of the gym said, where the girls practice, she has a long road to recovery. She has a long road to recovery. So we're definitely going to continue to follow this story. Do this, take a quick break, and we'll come back with more of the show. You're listening to the Diamond K Show here at onfire-tv.com. We'll be back right after this.
Looking for food that feeds your soul? Hoodfellas Bistro and Catering is your local African-American-owned restaurant offering American cuisine. Located across from the courthouse, we offer daily jury specials to reward civic duty. Enjoy our full-service restaurant and fully stocked bar. Dine in, pick up, delivery, and catering. Our themed happy hours feature live music, handcrafted drinks, and weekly specials. Book your private event at hoodfellowsbistrocatering.com.
So, wrestling, I've done a lot of that throughout my life. You win some and you lose some. Just like any sport, you win some and you lose some. So how do you react if you lose a match? I mean, the object of any athletic competition, the object, of course, is to win. Now, that desire to win should not compromise your sportsmanship. Evidently, in Illinois, they did not get the memo. A youth wrestler caught on video sucker punching his opponent after losing the match. I mean, it is really crazy. So you can see here that the kid, the youth in the blue, sucker punching the wrestler in the red. And so we have video of that. Let's do this. Take a look at this video.
You missed that throw, dude. Just punched him right in the face.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. 2 8th graders, Cooper Cordell of Spar Academy, wearing the orange singlet, defeated Maine West High School's Hafidid Alicia, who was in the blue. So following the match, as Corder went in for the post-match handshake, right? Reaching his hand out to shake his opponent's hand after the match, he gets punched square in the face. I mean, here's the thing. He wasn't expecting it. It was a sucker punch. Any way that, you know, when you define sucker punch, that's what it was. Like, that's the definition. Punching him square in the face after he lost, the epitome of a sore loser. Of course, sending him to the mat. The Oak Park Police Department is reportedly investigating the incident. But I mean, what kind of lessons is he getting at home where he thinks that this is appropriate? He lost the match, punches him in the face. Yeah, you didn't have, where was all that energy when the match was going on? Oh, you wait until the victor, who was the best that day, right? You could have beat him at another time. But this match is just completely just this dark cloud put over the match because this kid didn't know how to control himself. I blame his parents. 8th graders. This wrestler sucker punches his opponent after losing the match to him. The epitome of a sore loser. So I'm sure that the family of the kid that was sucker punched not in a good mood about this. There's no excuse for this type of behavior. But this is where society is right now. We've got to get people back from this type of thinking, this way of handling stuff. We got to do something better. Like I said, I blame his parents, whoever raised him. Though that's who I'm blaming for this.
On Fire TV is a streaming network for a generation on the move.
Welcome back, your man Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com. On fire-tv.com. You have an event. You need to get info on booking. want to do some business, music submissions, very easy. djdiamondk@gmail.com, djdiamondk@gmail.com. So we talked about the family of the late Tyre Nichols. You remember this story, and no surprise here. I have been expecting this to happen, and I'm surprised that it did not happen sooner. But the family of Tyre Nichols has sued the Memphis Police Department over his death. And, I think that many of you remember the video of the brutal beating by 5 Memphis police officers. They have been sued, the officers have been sued, and the city of Memphis, they blame them for the death, accusing the officials of allowing a special unit's aggressive tactics to go unchecked despite all of the warning signs. Yeah, this is going to be one of those cases. This is going to be one of those cases. And, this lawsuit accuses Memphis Police Director Davis of starting a crime suppression unit called the Scorpion to target repeat offenders in high crime areas. The lawsuit claims that the Scorpion unit used extreme intimidation, humiliation, and violence while disproportionately focusing and targeting young black men, adding that this is why Nichols was targeted. It says that the department permitted this aggressive approach to develop, and they ignored complaints by other residents who had been targeted previously by this unit. So that there was many warning signs before the death of Tyre Nichols. The suit filed by attorneys for Tyre Nichols' mother seeks a jury trial and financial damages. The 5 officers charged with beating Nichols were members of the unit. Police have said the unit was disbanded after the Nichols beating. The city of Memphis has declined to comment on this lawsuit. So we remember that Tyre Nichols died just 3 days after the brutal beating. It was the latest in a string of violent encounters between police and black people that have, spurred protest and renewed public discussions about police brutality. In most cases, the officers have been white, but all 5 of the officers accused in Nichols' death are black. The officers have been charged with second-degree murder. So we're going to see. This is going to be, as I said, one of those cases that we have to watch. This is definitely going to get some folks upset when this comes to trial. Family wants a jury trial. Members of the Scorpion unit engaged in a practice of jumping out to ambush Memphis citizens and aggressively harass them and search them in public. It is, I guess, to be understood that the Scorpion unit is very similar to what they used to call here in Baltimore the Jump Out Boys. And I think in New York, they probably call them that. Many cities, the Jump Out Boys, where you have an unmarked vehicle and they just come to areas, the police, the special unit, and just jump out. And everybody tries to run, different things like that. But they assault citizens, ambush them, and harass them. This lawsuit also accuses the police chief and other police supervisors of encouraging officers to engage in illegal searches and seizures. So, of course, the police deny this. What? Never. How would we do that? No, we would never do something like that. We're just trying to make it home to our families. They say that kind of stuff. And I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. But when we come back, we're going to talk about a case here in Baltimore, two separate cases actually, where Baltimore City police officers have been indicted. And we're going to do that right after this. You'll listen to the Don McKay Show here on fire-tv.com. Take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the show after this.
Looking for food that feeds your soul? Hoodfellas Bistro and Catering is your local African-American-owned restaurant offering American cuisine. Located across from the courthouse, we offer daily jury specials to reward civic duty. Enjoy our full-service restaurant and fully stocked bar. Dine in, pick up, delivery, and catering. Our themed happy hours feature live music, handcrafted drinks, and weekly specials. Book your private event at hoodfellowsbistrocatering.com.
Thank you for tuning in to On Fire TV. We are a 24-hour independent news and entertainment channel. We produce original movies, documentaries, reality-based shows, and podcasts. On Fire TV is made possible because of viewer and listener support. Go to onfire-tv.com to become an On Fire Plus member. Your dollars and your support have kept us going, and we are just getting started. Welcome back. Your man Don McKay. Now, two Baltimore City police officers have been indicted in two separate cases by a grand jury today for misconduct and other charges that stemmed from separate cases. Officer Kevin Hilton was charged with second-degree assault and misconduct in office from an incident that occurred on North Payson Street in May of 2022. He is accused of assaulting a man that he was trying to arrest. Hilton faces a maximum of 10 years in prison if found guilty. The jury also indicted Officer Unique Shepard for wear, carry, transport of a handgun, misconduct in office, and conspiracy to commit tampering with evidence from an incident that occurred in March. Now, Shepard was restricted to desk duty in March, but left and was involved in an accident. She was arrested for trying to hide drugs in her car and carrying an unpermitted gun. Shepard faces up to 3 years in prison if found guilty of the handgun violation, and he also faces 3 years for evidence tampering. So, I mean, it's just crazy. It is imperative that our police officers conduct themselves in a manner worthy of wearing the badge, says Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates in a news release. The allegations in these cases are uncharacteristic of the honorable men and women of Baltimore's police department and completely unacceptable, he said. The state's attorney continues, I am confident that my public trust and police integrity unit will ensure accountability for each defendant's alleged actions. So a civilian defendant was also indicted. He was accused of tampering with the evidence, and he's the one that faces the 3 years in prison if found guilty. Yeah, I mean, I liked the state's attorney's, statement. I did. And, because it's not all police officers. It's definitely not all police officers. It's some police officers. So he said that these allegations in these cases are uncharacteristic of the honorable men and women of the Baltimore Police Department and completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. So we're going to see what happens in these cases. Of course, these allegations, these are allegations, and we don't know them to be fact. These folks are innocent until proven guilty. All right? Innocent until proven guilty. All right, let's do this. Take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the show after this. So if you are from Baltimore, then you know what this is. This is the Baltimore Inner Harbor. And most of the time when folks come here to this great city, this is one of the places that they want to go. This is one of the places that they hear about is somewhere that they should visit. And but if you're from here, you're like the Inner Harbor, blah. You know what I mean? The Board of Estimates on today approved a 3-year lease extension for Baltimore's Harborplace. The Harborplace is this shopping complex on the Inner Harbor in downtown Baltimore, and it has seen some better days. City leaders made the move in hopes of bringing new life to what was once a thriving downtown destination. Now it is not the case. Now, many downtown areas and many cities across this nation, are not popping like that. Downtown Baltimore, the Inner Harbor, is one of those areas. They've lost a lot of retailers and restaurants over the years. This gave Dave Bramble with MBC Real Estate time to transform the Harborplace. During a panel discussion, Bramble suggested locking down short-term occupants for Harborplace twin pavilions and planning for a more permanent redevelopment of the 3-acre waterfront. Can they bring the Inner Harbor back? I don't know. It's been a long time since the harbor was popping. Been a long time. 3 acres is 3 acres. Wow. I don't know. What can you put down there? Here's the thing. Parking in downtown Baltimore is atrocious. So they say, well, we want to trick people into riding public transportation, and that's going to bring them down there. I mean, you really need to solve the parking problem. Solve the parking issue in downtown Baltimore. Then you can put some stores there, and then you can revitalize downtown. But you can't revitalize downtown if you don't fix the parking problem. It is just not convenient to park. You want to do something, build some more parking garages or parking areas and make them reasonably priced. Then you can put these stores up, and then people may come back downtown. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, of course, on fire-tv.com. What would it take if you're in Baltimore? What would it take for them to convince you to start going back downtown? I'd like to know the answer to that. We've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, and I reckon that we're going to continue to talk about it. That is Jonathan Majors. There's an article in the Root that asks, should Michael B. Jordan support Jonathan Majors despite the alleged assault scandal? Candace McDuffie is the author of this article, and I encourage everyone to read it. It's an interesting read. And it had me wondering, should Michael B. Jordan support him? Like, should he throw him to the curb? I mean, it has not been proven. We don't know whether or not Majors is guilty. But since being arrested on domestic charges last month in New York City, he has faced some serious career consequences. TheRoot.com talks about this. And as reported by The Root, his talent manager, Entertainment 360, dropped him, as well as his PR firm, as his professional world continues to crumble at the seams. What about the people that are his friends? What about the people that he's supposed to be cool with? I mean, he's lost his representation, been removed from several projects. We don't even know if this is true or not. I mean, would Michael B. Jordan still take his calls? I think you should still support him, because here's the thing. He is innocent until proven guilty. The topic of domestic violence is complicated. You know, it's complicated when you look at how the victims are treated and the ways the reported perpetrators are held accountable. But sometimes people lie. Now, but we don't know that. I mean, we don't know the situation. But Majors was charged with multiple assault charges after a 30-year-old woman said that she was struck about the face with an open hand. So a smack. She's insinuating that he smacked her with an open hand, left a laceration behind her ear. At the time of the alleged assault, the spokesperson for Majors said that he has done nothing wrong. They look forward to clearing his name and clearing this up. Now, we have seen pop culture go out of its way to protect celebrities who are accused of abuse. Right? We've seen it. R. Kelly, Bill Cosby. There are others. So, for the most part, he has a close friendship with fellow actor Michael B. Jordan. Over the last year, I mean, they shot Creed 3. I'm sure that they're even closer. But if your Michael B. Jordan, is your friendship with Jonathan Majors something that could harm you? Is it? Majors also gave a very moving speech when Jordan received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Their kinship has sparked a much-needed cultural conversation on what it means to be vulnerable as Black men. But does Michael B. Jordan have an obligation to sever ties with Majors because of this scandal? Time and time again, we have seen how Black men can become martyrs when they're accused of sexual misconduct or domestic abuse. We've also seen it go the other way. Supporting Majors during this scandal could tarnish Michael B. Jordan's wholesome reputation. It could. Hollywood holds Black celebrities to a different standard when it comes to codes of acceptable conduct. The fact that so many are distancing themselves from Majors and his alleged behavior speaks volumes. And it is interesting to see, as they're saying in the root.com, if Michael B. Jordan follows their lead, follows the leads of others. What would you do in this situation? As I said, it's a very interesting article in the root.com written by Candace McDuffie. Quick break. We'll be back right after this. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK. This is the nephew of former President John F. Kennedy, of course, the son of Robert F. Kennedy. And so he announced today what is going to be a long shot bid for the 2024 Democratic presidential nomination. Yes, he has a legendary political dynasty behind him, but that poses a very little threat to President Joe Biden, and has been criticized by his family. So it's like he doesn't even have the support of, his family, but he is stepping out and running for president. I mean, he's going to probably use his family's name to push what has often been discredited claims that vaccines pose health risks. He is 69 years old, launched his campaign in Boston with a video heavy on imagery from the heyday of his father. As I said, Robert F. Kennedy, his uncle, President John F. Kennedy, both of whom were assassinated. So I don't know. This is going to be. You remember he repeatedly attacked vaccines, calling their widespread use the result of a corrupt merger of state and corporate power. Listen, I don't doubt that there is such a merger. I don't doubt that. Kennedy bills himself as an environmental lawyer. He is best known, as I said, for spreading bogus conspiracy theories. A campaign that has gained major traction amid the pandemic. So we're going to see what happens. Kennedy, of course, joins the self-help guru Marianne Williamson is what is shaping up as a barely there fight with Joe Biden, who still plans to announce his bid to run sometime soon. So I doubt that Kennedy will get much support from his very famous family. His sibling, Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, and ex-rep Joseph P. Kennedy II denounced his views, RFK Jr.'s views, as being part of a misinformation campaign that is having deadly consequences. RFK Jr. was forced to apologize last year for comparing mandatory vaccines to the Holocaust. But, we'll see. Would you vote for RFK Jr.? I mean, can you even say that with a straight face? RFK Jr. running for president. Before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about this incident that occurred. We've been seeing over the years just this rash of students fighting teachers, kids putting their hands on adults, doing things to adults in the school setting. So in this scenario I'm talking about, Rocky Mountain Police are investigating this fight that involved a student and a substitute teacher at Rocky Mount High School. Police have ID'd the suspect. No charges have been announced just yet. But, K through 12 schools in America are less safe than ever, whether it's mass shootings, which are on the rise, teacher-student sexual relationships or relations, which is on the rise. It's always been this uptick in physical altercations between students and teachers within the classroom or in the hallway. So a fight between this student and substitute teacher is under investigation, caught on camera, cell phone footage. Who's to blame? Teacher makes a move, makes an action, student reacts to it. Let's take a look at this video and come back and talk about that.
Why does the rules not apply to everybody else? That's my phone. No, you did not keep nobody else's phone. And you finna give me my
Don't touch me.
That's on my phone.
Don't touch me. Girl, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Get a t-shirt.
Somebody get a teacher. 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 Somebody get a teacher. I don't give a get a teacher. Get a teacher. Get a teacher. Get a teacher. Get a teacher.
Y'all just go sit here and watch
Get a teacher.
What's wrong with y'all?
Get a teacher.
Get this.
So the substitute teacher is the one that's saying get a teacher. She's holding the student down. Obviously, she doesn't want to get up and let her up, because then I guess the student's going to probably wail on her. So the substitute is yelling at people to get a teacher. The student is asking why they sitting there looking at it. The whole thing is just sad. It's really sad. So the substitute teacher took the phone. The girl wants the phone back, and the substitute teacher's telling her to back up, don't touch her. She touches her. The little girl swings at her, and then it just goes crazy from there. It escalates. The on-camera fight, the teacher, Xavier Steele, and the student exchanged the punches and open hand slaps. I don't think that either of them was really hurt per se. Nobody's going to be in the hospital for months and months. But the incident, as I said, seemingly stemmed from this cell phone. And in the end, Steele got the best of the student, as you can see. The ground and pound technique, similar to UFC. It's now up to the school district and law enforcement to determine if North Carolina's public school policy, which states if an employee is attacked by a student, the employee has the right to restrain the student and defend themselves to the point that they are free of the threat or attack. The North Carolina public school system is going to determine whether it's been violated, and if so, what the punishment would be. But here's the thing. The student attacked the teacher. The employee, according to the policy, had the right to reasonably restrain the student and defend themselves to the point. So after she got her on the ground, there was a little ground and pound, as we said, and then she's restraining her at that point. And that's why she's calling for the teacher. So no real injuries, as I said, a lot of hurt feelings. The kids in the class got a show. And, I don't have a lot of sympathy for teens that want to fight adults. And here's the other thing. Maybe it's not against the policy, but the substitute teacher, she was dressed, kind of provocative. We had to blur out some stuff because, some things was showing. That was, she was kind of thick, right? But ultimately, parents have got to raise their kids better. What made this student feel comfortable enough raising her hands to the teacher? As a matter of fact, when the phone was taken, she should have sat her grown self down. She should have, she should have sat down. But teaching is difficult. Teachers have to go through a lot. Teachers need a raise. The student should have never gotten up to try to retrieve her phone. She even made an attempt to grab the phone from the substitute teacher before she pushed her away. The student violated the substitute teacher's personal space, and she swung first. The student's definitely wrong to me. It's not up to me, but the student's definitely wrong. But this is what you call F around and find out 101. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, of course, onfire-tv.com. I'll be back here tomorrow, 6 p.m., of course, for business mentions, unboxing, posts, collabs. DJ Diamond K at gmail.com or Dwayne at radioonfire.com. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in to On Fire TV. We are a 24-hour independent news and entertainment channel. We produce original movies, documentaries, reality-based shows, and podcasts. On Fire TV is made possible because of viewer and listener support. Go to onfire-tv.com to become an On Fire Plus member. Your dollars and your support have kept us going, and we are just getting started.